Kids don't forget.
Kids don't forget.
You kids don't forget.
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 Tanqueray, how you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. We really appreciate you coming up here. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
So, did I pronounce your name correctly? Let's start with that.
Tanqueray, yes. I'm used to it as Tanqueray, but overseas you might hear Tanqueray because of the Q.
Okay.
I was named after the gin, the Tanqueray gin.
Right.
So, but over here we use Tang. Sound like a G, so.
Right. Are you? Has it ever been mispronounced?
Oh gosh, all the time.
How has it been mispronounced?
Tanqueray, tangerine,
those,
tang,
those are the most common.
Tang-a-lang-a-lang.
Now, do you get upset when your name gets mispronounced, or you don't care?
I used to.
Okay.
Now I don't.
You grew out of it.
Especially in church, like when they announce my name.
Okay.
Because, a lot of the saints, they know what Tanqueray is. And I used to get mad because I used to hear people whispering. And so finally, I just decided, you know what? When they go low, go high.
I got it.
So then I would get up and say, okay, I know y'all knew about that Tanqueray before y'all got saved. But I promise you, by the time I'm finished, you'll have a different perception about the green bottle. Drop the mic.
Did you have any nicknames growing up?
Tang.
Tang, that was the most common?
Yep.
Okay.
Even when people didn't know me, they just automatically called me Tang. So.
Okay. Yeah. Now, growing up, like sometimes you'll have like an uncle on your dad's side who called you this, or aunt on your mom's side who called you that, or the people from around your way called you that. It was just Tang for you.
Just Tang.
That's cool. Just to have one nickname to be known by.
Yep.
Okay. Now, with that being said, where are you from?
I'm from West Philadelphia.
Pennsylvania.
Yes.
Okay. And how would you describe your specific? Well, West Philly is big. That's A. So do you have a certain neighborhood? Like if you were in the gallery in the mall and some guys tried to kick it to you, where would you say you from?
I would say West Philly, but then some people are like, well, that's Southwest, because I'm at the cusp, at Baltimore Avenue.
Okay. Yeah, when you hear Baltimore, you think Southwest,
but,
right?
They say it's Southwest. So I say West.
How would you describe your neighborhood growing up?
Lots of kids, water ice, popsicles. You could play outside, go to the park. You could go around the corner till, and just play all day. A lot of the corner stores was open. 52nd Street was really thriving. 60th Street really thriving. It's not like that now.
Okay. Were you an only child?
No, I have a younger sister.
Okay. If you are, what's the age gap between you and your younger sister?
We're 4.5 years apart.
Okay, so if you're 10 years old, she's
About 6.
6. Okay, got it. What was that like being the oldest child growing up?
That was my buddy.
Okay.
I enjoyed being a big sister. That was my homie. And, of course, I had no choice. My mom said, okay, you want to go somewhere? You got to take your sister with you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Speaking of your mom, did you grow up with both parents?
I did not.
You did not. Was there ever a time where you lived with both parents?
Nope.
Never. Okay, so it was always just you and your mom?
My mom and I had 2 stepdads.
Okay.
Yeah.
What was your relationship like with all of your parents? So let's start with who you want to start with.
Okay, so, the first stepdad, I met him, my mom met him, I was a baby.
Okay.
My mom left my dad when I was 6 months old. She basically got married because my grandparents told her to, because they were in the church. So, she was pregnant, wasn't married, so I was like, y'all are going to handle this.
Okay.
And she just got tired and took me and rolled, went on about her business. She met my sister's father.
Okay.
So I really didn't know of him, of course, until I was about 1. So, of course, I thought he was my dad.
Got it.
The whole time growing up. And then my mom stayed with him until I think I was about 7 or 8. All I know is that one day he came from work and the house was empty, except for the broke chair in the refrigerator.
Really?
And we moved on. We was at another house.
Okay.
So we met this new guy, and he was pretty cool. He was basically with me through my teenage years.
Okay.
Kind of a nerdy guy.
Right.
Played chess and all. Very smart man. He worked for the city.
Wait, you're associated with nerd?
Yeah, he was a
played
nerd.
chess?
He
I
was a
played
nerd.
chess. I'm a nerd too.
Checker,
Okay.
like he read the paper. Like he was really subdued, and he was all about his books and stuff. You know, he never had children, but you know, he wore the glasses, and
Right.
I kind of was like, "Well, Mom, like, I don't see you." But he was cool.
Okay.
He was cool.
That's what's up. That's what's up. Now, I'd be remiss to ask you this. Did you actually know your biological dad
I met him when I was 10.
when you were 10 years old? What did you think about, how did your relationship evolve with him if you had one, like in your childhood?
When I first met him, I found out he was in jail. And he was, you know, locked up. And I met him. He got out. I was about 11 and a half. So it was interesting. But once I found out, like, oh, you have a dad, you know, I really wanted to meet him and wanted to get to know him.
Okay.
And of course, that didn't happen a lot of times.
Okay. So it wasn't like reciprocal.
It was, but again, well, he's dead now, so
Sorry to hear that.
can't really pinpoint. So
Okay.
I really don't have that closure.
Okay. Got it. And last but not least, your mom.
What about
What was your relationship like with her?
We were very close.
What's her name?
Arlene.
Shout out to Miss Arlene.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Hi, Mom. We were very close, and she was pivotal in the woman that I am now.
How so?
You know, just raising me and my sister, and I always thought she was hard on me because I was the oldest, but I mean, I was doing a lot. I was traveling on SEPTA by the time I was 11, could go do different things. I was food shopping.
For people who don't know, what is SEPTA?
Transportation, public transportation.
Okay,
So
okay.
I basically would go pay bills, you know,
Really?
do the food shopping. She would give me a list. I learned about coupons and saving and stuff. And so again, I thought, you know, I was like, oh my God, it was a hard life. My mom was a dancer. And so growing up, that was a little challenging, you know. Your mom is a stripper, and so, like, you know, the neighborhood knows, kids know, but she had to
Right.
get ready to go to work, so I kind of had no choice but to get the house stuff together, make sure me and my sister ate, and make sure stuff was done, because she had to be out the door. So it was interesting, but I could always say, like, when she came home, she was up every morning. We had a hot breakfast. We had lunch. She was always at every parent-teacher conference. Like, you wouldn't know. I mean, I had people tell me that I was going to get pregnant by the time I was 15. I had my daughter when I was 37. My sister was 27. So, you know, even though, yes, my mom did what she did, but she would knock us upside our head if she caught us out anywhere. Like, we had to be in the house when she was gone. So we ain't never, like, sneak out. I was too afraid of her.
Right.
You
right.
know, so it was an interesting life. I thought we was one of the richest kids in the neighborhood, you know, because when I would wake up, she'd be on the couch. You know, my stepdad would be upstairs. She would be on the couch, and, you know, she'd still have her outfit on, and stockings full of money, you know. And usually I would help her unravel the money.
Really?
We was always used to cash. It wasn't no bank account, so I didn't learn how to write a check until I went to college. All I
Okay.
knew was money orders,
Interesting.
you know.
Interesting.
But my mom, and that's why I said, like, the second stepdad, he was real pivotal because, like, he took care of the house. She took care of me and my sister.
Okay.
You know, bought the food. And, you know, I had to, again, wash clothes. It was just a lot of responsibility that people never would have thought. They probably thought I'd be around all these people and this and that. The only thing I probably was around was weed. You know, she smoked weed, you know.
So she kept you away from a lot of the underworld of what she
Oh,
did.
yeah, she
basically.
did. And she
Right.
said I better not be caught. She better not catch me in, you know, no place. Her whole thing with her is she wanted me to have, she wanted me to graduate from high school.
Right.
She wasn't really into the college thing. It was like, okay, if that's what you want to do, fine. You know, so the stuff that I've even achieved, even after that, you know, she was very proud of it. Her whole thing was, no matter what you do, I don't care what you do it to the best of your ability.
Okay.
You know, I can't dance like her though.
So she was on some more so do as I say, not do as I do.
As far as discipline wise, yes. I think if I wanted to go into dancing, I don't think she would have wanted me to do it only because of probably because she knows that life.
Right.
And
That's
I don't think
right.
she would want to see her children involved in that.
Because I grew up, we all grew up around a lot of drug dealers, and they all say it like, "Yo, don't be like me. Don't do what I do. Stay in school."
If I did, I don't think she would have been totally upset. And I think she might have. I think at some point she probably would have tried to nurture me, but I was nowhere in that direction.
So when your mom wasn't home, you were pretty much running the house.
Yep.
So you kind of had to grow up faster than somebody your equivalent person of your age had to grow up because you had more responsibilities than them. That's interesting. Which segues into the next question is, did you eventually wind up becoming a parent yourself?
Yes.
Okay. And you mentioned, you already actually said that at 37. How old is your child today?
She's 6.
So at 6 years old, you know your child, and it's hard to speak for somebody else, but do you think that your daughter would be able to handle your life?
Right now, no.
Right now, no? Okay.
She don't know nothing about SEPTA. She don't know nothing about public transportation. She used to getting lifted in a car.
Right,
and being
right.
driven everywhere. You know, she's used to having snacks just handed to her. She's used to getting bathed and, just being attended to. She get her feet rubbed,
Right.
she, it's all that cool stuff.
Spoiled.
But she is a hardworking kid. I don't have to ask her. She loves to cook, so she loves watching me cook. I remember when I bought her first little kitchen at 2, she was upset that the stove really didn't work. She really thought it was
in real life, right.
So she was like, I don't want to play with this.
Wow,
this
right.
is broke.
Right.
I'm like, it's not broke, But she helps me in the kitchen. She helps me with laundry. She helps me with a lot. She's a cool kid.
Okay.
So she does have work ethic already.
Got it. So you know how your mom and your stepdads raised you because you were there. What would you say are some similarities and differences between their parent or your mom's parenting style and yours? Your daughter's only 6, so you don't have that much of a point of reference if she's not a teenager driving you crazy yet. But even now, what would you say are some similarities and differences between your mom's parenting style and yours?
Well, definitely a big difference is my grandparents were living.
Okay.
So when I was younger, because my mom was dancing since I was 1, so I lived with my grandparents growing up in those elementary school years. So I went to school down the street from on 53rd and Baltimore Avenue where they lived at.
Okay.
So they pretty much took care of me. And I would see her on the weekends. They were the ones that took me to church. So I stayed with them most of my early childhood years.
What was your relationship like with your grandparents?
Oh, they were my buddies.
Okay.
What
are their names?
Catherine and Robert Jones.
Okay, shout out to them.
They were my first experience with loss. Because I lost Robert Pop at 9.
Okay.
And I lost my grandmother at 11. So they were my first 2 big experiences with loss. So, I felt like my world really changed after they were gone because they were a part of my life,
Right.
So they were the big factor in me going to church and knowing, learning about God. And it was definitely because of them that I eventually found God for myself, but the seed was planted, I should say.
Okay.
As far as God and what God is about and going to church and this and that.
Okay. Got it. Interesting.
So it's interesting because now that the 3 of them are gone, it's pretty much all I have.
I'm sorry to hear that. My condolences.
To kind of stay sane.
Right. Hopefully what they instilled in you, help you, develop into the woman that you became.
Oh, definitely.
Which we'll definitely get into.
Definitely. Now, similarities. My mom was stern. I'm stern, but I found with my child, she'd be looking at me like, don't talk to me like that. So I had to learn how to come a little different with her.
Okay.
It kind of caught me off guard.
Okay.
You know, I got whoopings. She said, don't you hit me.
Right.
You know, so I had to really open my eyes as and to see her as a person
Okay.
versus like you the child.
Right.
So I had to kind of erase a lot of the things that I would like grew up on. Like, you know, you stay in a child's place and you don't talk till you be talked to, and
Right. Children should be seen and not heard.
Right. I realized that she's a person, just a small person, and I have to respect her as a person. And I find that once I do that, like, we get along well. She'll tell me anything, even if it's, oh, Mom, I broke something or I did something, you know. And she even called me out on my own stuff. She's like, well, you spill stuff. You tell me not to have something. Like, she, you know, I feel like she's been here before. Part of me, I feel like she is my mom.
Right.
With the way that, you know, the stuff that she says to me. But, so, yeah, I think just being there. Because my mom, even though, yes, she was a dancer, but we never missed a family trip. You know, like, my life was great.
Okay.
You know, growing up. You know, people, I think on the outside, just see, like, okay, you were raised by a stripper. You know, I wonder what that life was like. You know, when she was Arlene, you know, she wore long dresses. We went out. We did this. We went to the movies. I mean, we did a lot. Then, you know, when it was diamonds, it was diamonds. And we knew, you know, all right, come in the house, 8 o'clock.
Right.
Do what you got to do. Make sure your stuff is ironed for school. You know, this, that, and other. So, yeah. So
Your personal opinion. Do you believe this statement? It takes a village to raise a child.
Oh, definitely.
Do you feel like the village raised you? Like, did you learn from all the people in the neighborhood, or?
I'm not going to say people from the neighborhood, but when I started running track and doing a lot of extracurricular activities
Okay.
and meeting other people through there, I think they were the ones that probably geared me more so for the college route. You know, because I was an athlete. So it's like, okay, well, you get a scholarship, you go to college.
Right.
You know, because, again, my mom was just like, you know, just graduate from high school. You know, if you want to get a little job, whatever, you know, whatever makes you happy. So going to college, you know, I wanted to go to college because that was the thing to do. You know, you're an athlete. You want to, you know, get out of the hood and go to school for free. And I wanted to be a teacher. So you want to try to go and get that paid for.
Okay.
So
I asked that. So does your daughter have that village, or is it like just you?
Oh my gosh, no! Like, my daughter has an amazing village.
Okay.
Now again, I'm a single parent.
Okay.
And so, because I sing, you know, I have a nice following. And so when I first posted that I was pregnant, people were like, "You're right," because you know you don't really see that part of my life. You know, I don't really talk about that side. You know, I don't post like, oh, this is my boo and we out here, this, that. You know, I don't do none of that.
Okay.
So, you know, people thought it was a joke. When I showed the ultrasound pictures, I actually had to show my names because I said they're not going to believe that I'm having this baby. I mean, I couldn't even believe I was having the baby. So I used to draw like a face.
Okay.
And just show my belly and say, hey, you know, I'm 8 weeks. This is how I'm feeling today. Then when I found out the gender, I added little eyelashes once I knew she was a girl. So everybody, like, grew up with her. And then even I was almost giving blow-by-blow detail from the hospital, you know. 1 minute I'm posting a picture. Next minute I got an oxygen mask on. They're like, what's going on? Next minute I'm like, hey, I'm about to get a C-section. So they were involved in, like, the whole process. And then finally I had the picture of her when she came right out. Took a picture, posted it. So she's everybody's baby. And I learned that I needed that village because, again, when I found out I was pregnant, not long before then, I had just quit my job to work on music. So my goal was to work on music full time. And so I had quit my full-time job working at a hospital and just had a little part-time job because it was just me.
Okay.
And about 5 months later, found out I was going to have a baby. And so I was like, do I work on music or do this mom thing? So I was scared to death. And again, I'm 37, so I'm like, okay, I need to focus. Like, I can't be thinking about my dreams. Maybe I'm going through a midlife crisis. You know, I got a baby. I need to go get my job back. But it was like, no, God was like, no, keep going. I will put everything in your path.
Got it.
And God did. I mean, people coming out the woodwork. Here, I got some baby clothes. And, some people, I guess, don't want that stuff. I had no choice but to take it.
Right.
Because I was just determined. I want to sing. I do not want to go back to a 9 to 5 because I knew I wasn't happy. I had to pursue the music. So I took whatever clothes and took whatever people offered. I took it, to help raise my child. And I learned, because I could be a little bougie at times, So this really humbled me because, again, before I had her, I was making money. I was traveling. I was buying whatever I wanted. So that pivotal moment really brought me down. Like, I never shopped at Walmart before I had her because I was just like, Target. Like,
right. Target.
Yes, like, I would never be caught dead at Walmart. That's like my best friend. Now, shoot. So, I learned, and it's like, no, if you try to get this grind on, you're going to have to be uncomfortable, and I always tell people, I may not have everything that I want, but I had everything that I needed. So even if I'm down to like the last $3, bills is paid.
Bills are paid.
Right. So I'm okay. I got gas in my tank,
Okay.
So.
Do you remember all the schools you went to growing up?
Yes.
All right, let's start. Kindergarten, go.
I went to Harrington Elementary School from kindergarten to 5th grade.
Where's that?
53rd Baltimore Avenue.
Okay, that's in
West Philly.
West Philly. Okay. Okay. What was that experience like? So you were with your grandparents.
Yes.
Saw your mom on the weekends. What was elementary school like for you?
It was great. I'm friends with a lot of my elementary classmates till this day.
Really?
So I have a lot of great friendships that I still have till this day.
Okay.
Again, Constance Clayton was superintendent, so you went to school when it snowed. We just...
I did an interview. I interviewed another girl from Philly who brought her up.
No, like, staying at home.
Right.
It was the 80s. So
Right.
we had Dr. Constance Clayton, which was like a big time superintendent black woman that everyone loved, but she was like about her business.
Okay.
And they decided to desegregate the schools.
Okay.
So meaning they would bus the children from inside the city to the northeast.
Okay.
And it was like this secret desegregation program or something.
Right.
So
Or busing for short.
busing.
You just played and threw snowballs at each other while you went to school. There was books. You had books.
Right.
And I just remember it just being a happy time. And,
Okay.
elementary school was great. Now, my grandfather would drive me, most times. And then when I was old enough to walk, they would let me just walk.
How far was it from your house?
4 blocks.
4 blocks?
From 53rd
Okay.
of Baltimore to 57.
So
They were kind of long blocks, though.
a 10, 15-minute walk?
Right.
Okay.
Yep.
Got it. All right. Where'd you go to middle school?
Sayre Junior High School, 59th and Walnut.
Okay. Also in West Philly.
Yes.
A couple blocks from your house?
At the time, right down the street.
Oh, even closer than elementary.
Because I had moved when my grandparents died, and I was living with my mom and then the second stepdad.
Okay.
So we lived on Chestnut Street.
So let's talk about that for a second. When your grandparents passed, and again, sorry to hear that. Sorry to hear the condolences. And something else that I noticed that you said, first your grandfather passed and then your grandmother passed. That seems like that's how it always happens. Like
they've been together for years.
Yeah, they've been together for like 40, 50
All of a sudden
years.
she got sick and then she rolled. That's when my mom changed because that was my mother's stepdad. That wasn't her father.
Oh, okay.
But again, he raised her.
Got it.
And my mom was her only child, and her and my grandmother were very close.
Okay.
And after she passed away, she took it pretty bad.
Okay. Now
I think the only thing that held her together was the fact that she still had 2 girls she had to raise.
Right. She's like, I got to be strong for my kids. When you say she changed, like, what do you mean?
Started drinking more.
Okay.
Got really depressed.
Okay. And you saw that, and now you're a little bit older,
I was
so
like
you're
11.
you recognizing it, right?
Oh yeah.
Okay, got it. So middle school, was it the same happy? What'd you say it was called?
Sayre Junior High. That was like East Side High almost. Sayre was bad.
Okay.
Like, it was known as one of the baddest middle schools in the city.
Okay.
Fights, and again, I look like I'm like 7, in middle school. church girl.
Right.
You know, getting teased, laughed at. So I literally would run home every day.
So you were not a fighter?
No,
Okay.
not at all.
Okay. Was your little sister, by the way?
She was.
See, that's what happens. People always say that. Like, I wasn't a fighter, but my sister was.
She was.
Okay.
She was.
So middle school, not really that good of an experience. Now you with teenagers who I feel like middle school kids are the worst. That's when kids are like the meanest.
I think what helped me was that's when I started running track in the 7th grade.
Okay.
So because I started getting a little popularity with that,
Okay.
I think that kind of helped me.
What led to running track? You just one day said I want to run track?
Well,
or?
I was always one of the fastest kids on the block. And so somebody just watched me race all these boys.
Okay.
It was like,
We need her on the
you
track
need to
team.
start running.
Okay. So what did you run, by the way?
I thought I was a sprinter, so I thought I was, well, in middle school, they had me running the 100 meters and the hurdles.
Okay. Oh, you were a hurdler.
In middle school.
Okay. And you wound up, I want to fast forward to high school. In high school, what'd you run?
800 in a mile.
Oh, so you became a middle distance runner.
Well, they figured out what my talent was.
Okay. Got it. So,
Because I got blown out. I'm a sprinter and a hurdler. Coming in like, what? High school is no joke.
all right. So middle school was its own experience. And then high school, where'd you go?
Overbrook High School.
You went to Overbrook High. That's definitely in West Philly. Actually, it's in
Yes.
the Overbrook section of West Philly. Now, where you live, did you live in Overbrook?
No. So I lived on Chestnut Street, 59th and Chestnut, so I would take the 46 bus.
Okay.
So it was like a 10, 15-minute ride.
Okay, to school. Okay. Now, so now, when you get to high school, typically when you're in middle school, at least elementary school, it's all kids from your neighborhood. And in middle school, it's mostly kids from your neighborhood. And now in high school, you're with kids from where?
That Overbrook neighborhood.
Right.
And I actually found some elementary school kids that went there. That wasn't my neighborhood school. I
Right.
went there because of track. Somebody encouraged me to go there because they had a good track team.
What would have been your neighborhood high school?
West Philadelphia High School.
Okay. So you
Yeah,
went
so everybody that went to Sayre went to West.
Okay. So here we have a kid who's from out of town, basically. So did you have any problems at all in Overbrook? None. Okay. So you were just
But
cool
again,
with
still
everybody.
small. But again, I think what helped me was the fact that I was on the track team.
On the track team, right. How was your high school experience?
High school was cool. Because again, I was running track, and so that's where my focus was.
Okay.
Started, meddling with the boys a little bit.
Okay. But you didn't get pregnant. You survived the whole high school without getting
Oh,
pregnant.
yeah, no, because my mom, we had a conversation about birth control
Okay.
and condoms and stuff. Like, she was very open and candid about that.
Did you have one of those moms? Did she put you on birth control in high
No,
school?
I did it myself.
Really?
Even though she told me.
How? Don't you have to be 18?
I went, and even now working in the medical field, but no, as a child in Pennsylvania, you can go and get birth control without parental consent.
I didn't know that. Okay.
Yep.
Interesting. So you graduate,
Yep.
and if you don't mind me asking, what year?
96.
Class of 96. Okay. And you ran track in college.
Yes, I did.
Where'd you go, by the way?
Louisiana State University.
LSU.
Yep,
Okay, so you went there on a track scholarship.
I did.
Wow. In order to go to LSU on a track scholarship, you got to be elite. That's a D1, and it's not just a D1 school. LSU is a track school. Well, track, football, basketball, but track is huge, LSU. If you go there, you a problem. Okay. You said it, not me.
Listen, I was shocked when they even recruited me. And,
How did
schools,
that happen? How does recruitment happen?
from what I believe, I think they seen a race from like the summertime. And usually they look at national rankings and
Oh, so you ran
magazines
AAU
and
too?
stuff. Yeah.
Okay.
So I ran them club meets and all of that.
Okay.
And
What was
so
your AAU track team called?
well, we ran Oak Lane Youth Association.
Oak Lane Youth Association. Okay.
Yeah, so I was with them from 9th grade on.
Mm-hmm.
And so once I got the phone call that they wanted a trip, I was like, I ain't going nowhere else. Screw these other schools.
Right.
I took the trips just for the free trips, for
Okay.
the food and all that. But I was like,
So who all was recruiting you? Where'd you
LSU
go?
wanted me. I want to go there.
Where?
Well, originally I wanted to go to Villanova.
Okay.
That was where I wanted to go because I ran the 800 and the mile. At the time, you know, they had a good, you know, middle distance team.
Right.
And I remember I used to see the coach, and I was almost obsessed with him, and I would make sure he would see me. And
Okay.
he wasn't paying me no mind. He signed somebody else, you know, that year. But when LSU recruited me, I said, well, hey, they want me. I'm going.
Where else did you visit? What other colleges?
Penn State, Abilene Christian,
Okay.
Dickinson College in PA.
Obviously Nova.
I never went on a trip.
Oh, you didn't?
I wanted to go there.
Okay, got it. And LSU. So they flew you out?
Yep.
When
For the
the
weekend.
when the colleges recruit you, they fly you out?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
How long a flight was that? You remember?
No.
Okay. But you were just excited when you did Louisiana, like, you're
Yep,
this Philly
they
girl?
had me hang around with some of the members of the track team.
Okay.
I went to go see the big head coach. And,
Right.
got to go to the athletic center, and, you know, you see all the pictures and stuff. And so it's pretty cool. Got to see the track, got to see the tiger.
So let's talk about that for a second. You this girl, this kid from the Northeast, you a city girl from Philly of all places, and now you get stuck in the South, in the deep South. Was that a culture shock for you, or did you just fit right in?
It was a culture shock. I think that was the first time I really saw the Confederate flag in person.
Right.
So of course I'm like, you know, let me just chill,
Okay.
you know, because you know up north we don't know any good things about that flag.
Right.
But, you know, as I start to get to talk to people and know people, you know, get to learn stuff, you know, you start learning things. But, oh my God, Southern hospitality is what it is. People are very
It's
nice.
unmatched.
They leave their windows open, car doors unlocked, house doors open. I'm like, holding my bag, you know.
Right,
You never
right.
know up here, you know.
Right.
So I had to kind of get used to being comfortable with like, okay, you can leave your keys and they'll be back.
People
you
speaking
know.
to you.
Yeah, you know, I was like, talking to me, you know, but it was a great experience. That was my first time being at a mixed school because Overbrook was all black.
Right.
So it was my first time being with
Going to school with
you
white
know,
kids and Asian kids and Hispanic kids and
Yeah,
right. Okay. Did you work in high school?
I did.
Do you remember your first ever job?
CVS Pharmacy.
Really?
40th for Walnut.
Okay. What was that? What did you do? And what was that experience like?
I was a cashier.
Okay.
And now when I go to CVS, they have these nice little shirts. We had these little red smocks
I remember those smocks.
that you wore. And so I remember my last year, I was like buying stuff and saving it to pack up to go to LSU. So I bought like all my toothpaste and
Right.
all the stuff to, you know, stock up in my trunk.
Okay.
Get all my little pads and my girl stuff. And,
Right.
you know, so that was like the convenient thing working there. You know, getting all that stuff together. So I have all that stuff ready to go to college. And I ended up flunking out of LSU.
What?
After my second year. So then I came back home.
We're not skipping over that though. What happened?
I flunked.
Really? So you were having too much fun, partying too hard, like
No, wasn't even partying.
you feel like you
again,
were you not unprepared?
Just wasn't ready, I guess, prepared for that big college experience as far as like being in a room with 100 students and
Right.
couldn't really focus. And I mean, I was an average student even in high school. So,
Okay.
You know, I wasn't an A/B student. So it was like, I'll study later. You know, I needed more of a smaller environment once I really realized it.
LSU was too big, too.
A lot of the class sizes were big.
Got it.
So it was like, well, it's 100 students, and then I'm bored, I'm out. I'm
Right.
like, I can't even deal with this class anymore.
And that's so critical. Like class size is important, right? To certain
Like you're
kids.
known by a social security number looking at your test.
Right, I'm a
score.
number in class. Right, exactly.
So I think I just got like a little discouraged with that. But once I found out that, you know, my scholarship was on the line, one of my good teammates, and we're still good friends to this day.
Give her a shout out.
Rachel.
Rachel, shout out to Rachel.
I stayed with her during the summer because they kicked us out in the dorms. They kicked
Okay.
us out, so I stayed with her during the summer. And I had to go to summer school.
Okay.
And she was an A student. She was great student. And so I was focused, and it was crazy because those summer classes, I got all A's. But it was like kind of a little too late.
A little too late. But she was a literal example of you kind of wind up being the person. It's not 100% true, but you kind of wind up being the people you surround yourself with.
Huh?
In that case, like she was a great student.
She was a great role model.
Right.
And, you know, she definitely was all about the books and stuff.
All right, let's skip to my favorite question to ask people. On a scale of 1 to 10, with 1 being the worst possible, 10 being the best possible, how would you rate your childhood and why?
I'm going to say an 8.
Really? What consists of an 8 childhood?
Because of the fact that I was able to travel all over the country with track and
Where'd you go, by the way? Where'd you guys travel? Like some of the big places you guys went?
California,
Really?
Florida, Maryland, Virginia,
You guys were flying.
New York. We used to
Okay.
stand outside in the middle of the street, you know, and raise money like the kids do now.
Uh-huh.
Now the difference was we used to wear our uniforms and had signs, and presentation was everything.
Okay.
You know, now I just see like just kids just be in the street like we need money, and I don't usually see no adults. I still give because you just never know.
Right.
But there was at least like we had our uniforms on. We had the track outfits on. We made posters. We told people, "Hey, we're going to California. We're trying to raise money."
Right.
You know.
You got to see the world outside of Philadelphia, outside of your neighborhood of Philadelphia.
Yeah, so that was pretty cool.
Okay.
And again, like with my mom, like just going down Penn's Landing was cool. We never had a car. So, you know, we would just travel. Like on my 16th birthday, she took me to Ruth's Chris on the bus.
Okay.
You know, we got dressed up and went down
A
there.
big popular restaurant in Philly.
You know, she taught me what it was like to be fancy. But, you know, we got on the bus and did it. So I experienced a lot with her.
Okay.
You know, that I can share now. So it was good in that regard.
With your actual biological dad not really being there, and you had male father figures in your life, do you think that affected your relationships when you got older, like with men?
Yep.
It did. Okay. How so?
Well, because with my sister's dad, going back to as far as I can remember 4, he molested me up until I was 9.
I'm sorry to hear that.
And so I remember, you know, being 4, like literally my mom would go out the door and I would just remember him calling my name, telling me to come down in the living room and sit with him, and, you know, he would do what he did.
Okay.
So I think when I met the second guy, I was very guarded. Didn't really, had no interaction with him in the beginning.
Okay.
You know, it was like, okay, hi, bye, go upstairs to my room.
Right.
Then I realized, like, okay, he was cool. Even I still was kind of like,
Right.
you know.
Right.
He was actually cool.
So, with like the men that you've dealt with as an adult, even as a teenager, adult, you're guarded around them.
Guarded, and I tend to deal with older men.
Okay. Okay. Why older?
I don't know. It's just who I'm just more attracted to for some reason.
Okay. Okay. And definitely, I guess that translates to how you feel about men around your daughter.
Yes. Or even women. Like, I just, anybody. Like, I just kind of get a little paranoid. But,
Got it.
now she's of age where she will talk.
Right.
You know.
And you guys have that relationship where she knows,
Yeah,
like,
she's
yo.
like, Mom, I said no. And, like, I literally, like, I didn't give her pet names for her body parts.
Right.
Like, I literally told her breast, vagina, like, you know, we ain't talk about, oh, the cuckoo. No, I'm not doing that with her. Like, I want her to know, like, did somebody touch your vagina?
Right.
She's like, no, Mom. Are you
Okay.
sure?
Got it. Next segment is the same question, but I'm going to ask it negatively first, and then I'm going to go to positive.
Okay.
Do you have a worst childhood day that you would like to, like, forever forget and erase from history?
Yes.
Okay. Care to elaborate? or no?
I think I was about, I want to say 7. And my mom there was a lady that lived at the house with her sons. She had 3 sons.
Okay.
And so basically all 3 sons pretty much had their way with me.
What? Okay. Okay. And we want to forever forget it, so we don't even have to go any further with that topic. It's frustrating to hear so many women and the things that you guys had to deal with, like growing up.
So basically, it was like I guess it would be like a kiddie orgy. I guess I don't know.
Yeah, like that. People would never know, right? It's frustrating to hear that, and it hurts to know that you had to experience that, man. On the flip side, do you have a favorite childhood day or time period that if you could, you would love to go back to?
When my grandfather came home from the hospital on my 5th birthday and surprised me.
Really?
Yep.
Okay.
I came home from school. I didn't think he was coming home, and it was a Mickey Mouse party.
Okay.
And all the balloons was there. And it was 5, so it's a big,
Right.
occasion. And so he was sitting in the kitchen. I still remember that day when I came home and he was in the kitchen.
His face
jumped
just
in his
lit up.
lap and, yeah.
Okay. Is there anything, you might have already covered this, is there anything in your childhood that you could pinpoint that you could say, it might be several things that affected your life forever? Like even the person you are today, like you're still living it, kind of.
Just persevering, no matter what, just still going. So I think as a child, I think I was a strong child. To be able to deal with a lot of the things that I dealt with as a child, to still have that strength even now as an adult, even though I did try to attempt suicide, it didn't happen. And so I had to kind of get myself together.
Now, was that during high school? Was that during middle
No, that's
school?
why I was an adult.
Oh, okay.
So I think
okay.
everything just kind of.
Well, we're happy you're still here.
I am too.
I know that's right. I know
want to
that's
see my
right.
child, or done a lot of the things that I've done. So.
What's your overall perception of how your childhood affected your life? So basically, the woman you are today, right? Do you feel like your childhood molded you into the person you are? Some people feel that way, some people don't. How do you feel about that? Like, what's your overall perception of how growing up in West Philly, smack in the middle of the hood, in your household, with the adults who were in your life and the things that you experienced, like molded you into who you are today?
Well, ever since I was a little girl, I've wanted to sing.
Okay.
And for whatever reason, it just never happened. Never went into like performing arts or never did anything. I basically just sang in church and all. So it's just interesting now that it's finally come in full circle. And it took all of this stuff, I believe, to happen for me to get to this point. It took me to flunk college and potentially not run in the Olympics, to come back home, to get into the medical field, to eventually quit that field to work on music.
To finally, like, this is your calling, so to speak.
Right.
So with that being said, we haven't even mentioned that you are known as, and correct me if I'm wrong, the Queen of Philadelphia.
Self-proclaimed.
How did that happen? And, like, what's your singing career like? How's that evolved? How's it going?
All right, so I'm going to say this. Queen of Philadelphia was born actually in 2018.
2018, okay.
I had went to Las Vegas to perform. It was to try to go to Japan to sing and get like a residency at a restaurant. So somebody recommended that I participate in this contest. So I went over there. I did not make it. So that night I had a gown on.
Was it like a competition?
It was a competition.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
So, you sang in front of all these Japanese men, and
right.
They look at you, all this kind of stuff. So I didn't make the cut. So me and my manager at the time that I was with, we decided, let's just go enjoy Vegas. Let's go on the Strip. So here I am with this blonde hair. I had this gold gown on, and I'm just walking down the Strip.
Okay.
So people are looking at me. People are wanting to take pictures. They're thinking I'm a part of what's going on.
Right.
In the Strip.
Okay.
And so they're like, well, who are you? So I was like, I'm the Queen of Philadelphia.
That's
I'm
literally how it
goofy.
happened.
So that's how it started. And so I actually like went live and I said the Queen of Philadelphia is on Fremont Street, and you have zip liners, you have naked people, you have people selling stuff. That's how it started.
Okay.
So, you know, people just laughing and like, ha ha ha, she the Queen of Philadelphia.
Right.
So when I came home from Vegas, the music wasn't even in the works.
Got it. Got it.
So I just said, you know, I'm going to just start using it. Queen of Philadelphia's in Walmart. The Queen of Philadelphia's getting her car fixed. The Queen of Philadelphia has a flat tire.
Okay.
So I just was rolling with it,
Okay.
you know, and it had a nice ring to it, you know. Once the music started,
Okay.
then it seemed to really start to pick up notice. And
Now it seems like it's stuck.
be a problem.
Okay.
And I'm thinking to myself, well, people know I sing,
Right.
you know, but then people really started to notice and like, what do you mean, Queen of Philadelphia? You trying to say you better than Patti LaBelle? You trying to think you better than Jill Scott? Whoa, 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 whoa.
Jazmine Sullivan.
Wait a minute. I've been calling myself the Queen of Philadelphia way before this all started.
Right.
Nothing changed.
Okay. Okay. You just in another lane now.
Exactly.
Right.
Stuff started taking off, #1 on the charts, doing well over in the UK, you know. And so the interesting thing was, you know, when I started the music journey,
Okay.
I said, well, I'm going to just keep this going. So I
Right.
presented myself as
The Queen of
Queen of
Philadelphia.
Philadelphia.
I love it.
At least
I
I
love
could back it up, thank God.
So you recently put out an album
Yes.
called,
Definition of a Woman.
and what's the album about?
So basically the songs define me, Tanqueray, as the woman that I am today. So a lot of the songs are meaningful in regards like life experiences and just
Okay.
define me.
How would you define? Have you pigeoned yourself into a certain genre, or how would you define your genre?
I just consider myself as an artist,
Okay.
but in regards to the sound, it's like R&B, soul music.
Okay. Okay. I will be remiss. I'm about to put you on the spot. Can we get like 10, 15 seconds of any riff that you want to blow?
I'm not really a riff person.
Okay. Okay.
Never really been.
Probably wrong word. Okay. Like, okay. We'll
Download
take
the
it.
album.
We'll take it. Download the album. Again, what is it called?
Definition of a woman.
Definition of a woman. Tanqueray Hayward. Got it. Got it. Final topic. Final thing. The woman you are today, everything you know about life, all the things you experienced. If you could talk to a younger version of yourself, how old would she be and what would you say to her?
She would be 7,
7.
and I would
So what would
tell
you
her,
say to 7-year-old Tanqueray?
focus on your music.
Really?
Focus on your music and tell your mom everything.
Okay.
The fact that I hid what my stepdad did for so long really damaged me to the point that I was like having nightmares, you know, and I was scared that my mom was going to kill him. Like I didn't want her to go to jail. So I was like, rather than I say anything. I was 9 when I finally said something.
Okay.
Because at that point we was in a situation where they weren't even together, but we went to visit his mother, and he was there, and we were sitting at the table. He was like, "Come over here," and I was like, "Here we go." And I sat on his lap, of course, and he started to put his hands down my pants, and I said, "No, that's it." And I got up and I called my mom and I said, "Come pick me up. I can't do this no more. Got to
Okay.
go." And so then that's when it all like came out. His mother called me a liar. Like it was, but I was happy that my mom believed me.
Okay.
And that was the big thing.
Because that happens a lot
She believed me.
where
and,
parents don't believe their kid. Right.
And I never really got closure as far as confronting him. I found out he ended up being like a gym teacher at schools and stuff and all of that. But just be open and talk more. Because even at 7, like I was doing a lot of stuff that 7-year-olds should not be doing
Got it.
sexually.
Okay. Got it. Definition of a woman. Download it. Tanqueray, we appreciate you being here. Thank you so much.